Mahamadou Issoufou, ECOWAS mediator to Burkina Faso, has concluded talks with the new strongman of Ouagadougou, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, on a positive note. That is my lone top story, ladies and gentlemen. Hi there everyone, thanks for joining us on the 6 p.m. Primetime newscast on For You Television. I am Teke Wana at the anchor. We begin this day from Burkina Faso, where the ECOWAS mediator for Burkina Faso has ended working visit to the country following last Friday's coup d'etat, the second in 8 months. We are told their discussion was fruitful for a positive return to a civilian role in no distance time from now. Futsu has the outcome of their meeting.
Faso by West Africa's main political and economic bloc, ECOWAS, Mahamadou Issoufou said he was satisfied by a meeting with the country's new military leader, Ibrahim Traoré. Speaking to the press after the meeting, the ECOWAS mediator reaffirmed his commitment to the Burkinabe people.
J'ai rappelé l'engagement.
We will report on our mission to the current president of ECOWAS and to the head of state. But I can already assure you that ECOWAS will remain at the side of the Burkinabe people. We will continue to accompany the Burkinabe people in this very difficult ordeal they are going through. During the meeting, the new leader of Burkina Faso promised to keep the commitment made in July by the previous leadership regarding the organization of election and a return of civilian to power by July 2024, the letters.
Still talking about politics, we go over to Lesotho, where Lesotho is a small kingdom perched in the mountains of southern Africa, where political instability has ousted the heads of government of the past decade before their terms were up, is holding parliamentary elections this Friday. The constitutional monarchy of 2.2 million people has a long history of political turmoil. Coup d'etat and forced exile have followed one another in the former British protectorate, which has been independent since 1966. The assembly has 120 seats, with 80 elected by majority vote and 40 appointed by the proportional representation. Independent observers are on hand in Lesotho for this Friday's elections. Now, let's go over to the DR Congo, where the British royal family Sophie Countess of Wessex and Fofa is in the DR Congo for the first time. The aim of her visit is in prelude to an international conference on sexual violence to hold in November this year. Details in this report. Sexual violence over the decades now continue to be a bone of contention. Riot groups have been popping up from the north, east, west, and south of the continent to kill the Malays to its barest minimum, but yet it's still very much alive. It is one of the motivating factors which inspired the British royal family for the first time to land in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Countess met the 2018 Nobel Peace Prize winner, Dr. Denis Mukwege, and discussed extensively about the state of sexual violence in the DRC.
Your presence here simply instills hope in the hearts of our people. Your presence here is a strong message to the victims, and you say it out loud. You are not forgotten.
The British royal, accompanied by Lord Tariq Ahmed, Baron of Wimbledon, and UK representative for the prevention of sexual violence, assured the Congolese of their support to victims of sexual violence.
Investing in people, investing in the legal profession, but also investing in the institutions that bring justice for the victims and survivors of sexual violence.
However, this visit, according to the host nation, sends across warning signal to perpetrators of the acts.
Your presence is also a powerful message to the perpetrators that the crime will not go unpunished forever.
The UK, come November 2022, will be hosting an international conference dedicated to the prevention of sexual violence in conflict zones. Thus, this visit of Sophia Countess of Wessex and Fofa is a clear indication on what role the DRC has got to play at the conference. Over to something else to talk about environment now, where African countries at COP27 in Egypt come November this year have been urged to advocate for a common energy position which will see fossil fuel as necessary to expanding economies and electricity access. As you tell us, Jix Nabise.
Amid efforts to adverse the impact of climate change, African countries will use the COP27 climate talks in Egypt next month to advocate for a common energy position that sees fossil fuels as necessary to expanding economies and electricity access, the continent's top energy official said on Tuesday. The African position, criticized by environmental groups, could overshadow global climate talks in Sharm el-Sheikh, seeking to build on the previous Glasgow summit and make good on financing targets by rich nations to poorer countries that have fallen far short of the promised $100 billion a year since 2020. We recognize that some countries may have to use fossil fuels for now, but it's not one solution fits all, highlighted Amadi Abu Zaid, the African Union Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy. She added that it is not time to exclude, but it is the time to tell us solutions for a context, while speaking on the sidelines of an oil and gas conference. An African Union technical study attended by 45 African countries on June 16 outlined that oil and coal could play a crucial role in expanding modern energy access over the short to medium term. Nonetheless, Africa sees key roles by natural gas and nuclear energy. To sum it all, Abdulzaid said ambition is to have fast-growing, competitive and industrialized economies.
We go over now to Mozambique, where for residents of the Mozambican town of Mocímboa da Praia, the city has almost returned to being a good place to live after the exit of the Al-Shabaab terrorist group a year ago because of the ugly experience that they encountered. For us to better comprehend the daily preoccupations of the inhabitants and residents of that particular city, let's follow this report. The port city of Mocímboa da Praia, liberated from the Al-Shabaab terrorist group a year ago, is still to completely forget her ugly past, despite the smiles on their faces daily.
The Al-Shabaabs came and said, "We are going to burn the house." I went out, opened the door, and they came into the room. I told the children to run and hide in the room, but one of them came in and took the children. I couldn't stop them. They said they were going to take good care of the children. Afterwards, we fled outside. They ignited the beds and mosquitoes nets with gasoline and burned the house.
This Wednesday, October 5, marks exactly 5 years since the first attack on a police unit in Mocímboa da Praia occurred. The city is now under the protection of the Rwanda police officials, who decided to extend a hand of solidarity to a brotherly nation in need of tougher security measures. The conflict has spread across the entire province of Cabo Delgado and displaced thousands of people. Many have not yet been able to return home due to the ugly memory, as they have rather remained in makeshift accommodation centers, still mourning their old lives.
We here in Cabo Delgado are tired of the terrorists. This quietness that you are seeing today is because our forces are working in the jungle. They are pursuing the terrorists. Since we arrived over a year ago, we always eat the same thing, rice and beans, all of us. There is no money here for us.
Nevertheless, the UN estimates that the years of terror have led almost 1 million Mozambicans to flee their homes. Despite efforts made by officials to pacify the province with international support, the conflict is not yet over. It is less noisy, but no less painful for thousands of families as they wake up every morning to an uncertain future. Ladies and gentlemen, that puts it up to today's English Primetime Newscast on For You Television. I want to thank you all immensely for your kind attention. God willing, we shall be back here same time tomorrow. Until then, for what must have made us in Africa, God bless Africa. Bye-bye.